Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's Tips from the Top call. It's every Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on our Zoom call. And, I'm just so excited to have Louise Loehwing joining us today because she is going to be sharing how she challenged her team to do some Facebook Lives and how it helped grow their business on Facebook. So, Louise, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Sabrina, and thank you so much. I'm honored to be here and doing this with you guys. So a couple of things. When it comes to lives, think of it as a networking event. When you're out in a networking event, you have people that you're coming up to you, and you're telling them your story one-on-one, and you're repeating yourself over and over again. When you're doing a live, you get to basically tell your story out to hundreds of people without having to repeat yourself, and it's really cool. So the more you do those lives, the more people are going to realize what you do. And a little backstory too that I think is important is that when I first started in direct sales 8 years ago, this is my third direct sales company that I've been in. Third time is a charm, by the way. So the first company that I was in, I was embarrassed, and I would never, if we even had a live feature on Facebook at that time, I probably would never have done it because I was always afraid of what would people think. What do people think of me? Am I going to embarrass myself? Oh my gosh, I don't know. And I was just ashamed. I was ashamed. And I said, you know what? And I heard this a long time ago, and it stuck with me from that. And by the way, I failed at that business, obviously. If you're ashamed of direct sales is going to be ashamed of you, and it'll be reflected in your paycheck. Well, my second business, I finally said, you know what? I don't care if I make a fool of myself. Let me go for it and see what happens. So I went for it, and I was doing lives, and guess what? People wouldn't tune in. I maybe had one person on the call, or on the live, I may have 0, there may be 10. It didn't matter. It's just that I knew that other people were going to watch after the fact, because as soon as I got off that live and as soon as I was out in public, someone would always say to me, hey, I caught that live the other day. Oh my God, you were such a fool. And it was almost like a backhanded compliment as they're laughing, and I would laugh along with them. And they're like, but by the way, you know that product you were talking about? And I was like, boom, that's why we do lives, because that is where the magic happens. It starts to stick in their brain. Hey, Louise has wine and it makes an impact, and I can host an event, or I can join her team and I can help make an impact. And it starts to start to really kind of seep in. When you think about advertising, what is it? You pass a billboard, you have to pass it 6 or 7 times before you actually see it. That's the same thing with a live. The more you do these lives, then the more it's going to be more prevalent for your audience. So now one thing, and I did say this, doing a live, you may get like 1 person, 0 people, 10 people. It doesn't matter. You just keep going. Okay, because they are watching. People are watching. Now, here's the funny thing. There are people, and I'm sure you do it too. I do it too. People will go live, and when you do go live, it gets notified. Your friends get notified. Louise is going live, and here's the little caption. There are going to be people that are going to intentionally ignore it and wait until the live is finished to watch to see what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So you want to kind of say, okay, I know there may be 0 people on my live right now, but they're watching, so I'm going to talk to my audience as if there are 100 people out there. Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing that I want to say, and so I'm going to give you 9 tips. I was laughing because I was literally trying to come up with the 10th tip, and I couldn't figure it out. So here's 9 tips that I just want to kind of throw at you right now, as far as what to do when you're going to go live. First, check the times when your friends are most active on Facebook. When are they commenting more? When are they active? Because that's when you want to essentially do your live. So if 7 or 8 o'clock at night, if all of a sudden you see a lot more activity, people posting and people commenting, you want to make sure that you're out there then being like, hey, look, I'm here. If it works for your schedule, obviously. If the only time you can do it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon when the kids are out of the house, when the dog is at daycare like mine is right now, so he's not barking up a storm, do it then. So, check the times, but if you can't do it at the time, that you see those people out there, do it when you can, you're the most comfortable. Put a description out there, but be a little vague in your description, or leave them leave them hanging for more. So you can do a description of your live, put, Sauvignon Blanc plants trees, like something like that. What do you mean Sauvignon? Like how does Sauvignon Blanc plant trees? What does breast cancer have to do with Chardonnay? Because I would be like, wait, does Chardonnay, like what's the connection? I'd want to tune in and find out. The third thing is keep it short and sweet. Now, here's some things that I'm going to say that I don't follow well. I actually go overboard sometimes. The shorter you are, the better off your audience is going to be. So kind of just stick to, certain talking points, making sure that you're that you're honing in on what you want to talk about during that presentation or during that live. And don't overextend it too long. Sometimes I do get a little extended in my lives, and then I realize, oh, you know what, these people are going to cut out. Because seriously, how long is your attention span? Mine is very short. And I'll give you an example. The other night, one of my girlfriends in another direct sales company posted that she went live, and it was, I have something exciting to say. And now with saying that, I was like, oh, well, now I want to know what the exciting thing is. So I tapped into her live, and she waited 2 minutes for people to log in. And I sat there going, I'm not going to sit here waiting around, just staring at her screen, waiting for people. So I logged out and said, I'll come back later. And, so that's basically when you keep it short and sweet and you get right to the point, it doesn't matter if there's, 0 people when you start. And if they need to catch up, they can. But just go ahead and do it, because if you have at least one person out there, they're not going to sit there and wait for you to wait for another 30 people. Number 4, you want to prep for your live like 10 minutes. Seriously, that's all you really need is just 10 minutes. You can actually, one of my business partners, Anya, and I do a lot of lives together, and we literally will sit in my kitchen or her kitchen and say, okay, what are we going to talk about in the next 15 minutes? Like, okay, you know what? Let's talk about this organization. Let's quickly do a Google search. Let's write it down. And then we're going to keep a piece of paper in our hands, and we're going to read off of it to say, oh, we found this out. We just found this information out. And why do you want to do that? Because number 5, you want to look real and you don't want to look scripted. So when you're out there, and I say a million times, and I'm probably saying it like a million times right now, when you make blunders and when you say and when you're like, well, hold on a second, I got to look that up, I forgot what I just looked up. When you do all that, guess what happens? People are going to look at you and say, that's all she does. Well, I can do that business. If that's all she does, I could probably do it better than her. So now it's planting a seed in their mind. Maybe I can be a CEO too. And also, you also don't want it to look hard. Every time I do my tasting notes, I pick up the back of the bottle and read it. I don't care if I've memorized it because I've read them like 8,000 times. I still pick up the back of that bottle so that people know that's where my information's coming from. I'm not here with a big knowledge in my head that I have to like have this big wine library. This is just basically truly because of the fact that somebody gave me the notes right there. Okay, so number 6, interact with your people. If somebody is tapping in and they're saying hello to you, say hello back. And there is a delay, just so you know, on lives, when you go live, there are delays out there. So it may take a while for it to pop up, but interact with them. If they have a question, answer it for them. If they have a question and you don't know the answer, say, that's an awesome question. I'm going to find out and I'm going to follow up. And guess what? Now you get to follow up with this person in a private message. And the fortune is in the follow-up, right? So, and that's even better. So maybe you want to pretend that you don't know the answer and follow up with them. So, 7 is keep to a schedule, and I'm going to explain to you how what we scheduled out with my team. So I'm going to come back to that one. 8 is be excited. When you're on these calls or on these lives, here's the thing. When somebody is talking and they're like, so anyway, we have a red blend, and you're not going to tune in. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to listen to this. I want to hear excitement. I want to hear what's so much fun about this business, or what are you talking about? And Tony Robbins, if you know Tony Robbins, every time he goes on stage, before he goes on stage, he has a mini trampoline, you know those mini trampolines, in backstage, and he jumps around on that to get himself pumped up before he goes out on stage. Do whatever you need to do to get yourself energy level up and pump yourself up. Drink a whole bunch of caffeine, some, good karma coffee, whatever you need to do, just get out there, do some jumping jacks and do your live then, because people are gonna love that energy. And then the last one is be proud of what you do. Be proud of what you do, because that is the most important thing. One thing that you have to, like, again, that first direct sales business that I came across, I was not proud of what I did. I was actually embarrassed, and I felt like, oh, this is a pyramid scheme. And I, and people would say, how's your pyramid scheme? And I would allow it to affect me. Well, guess what? With this business, I sit there and I talk about One Hope, and I'm proud to know that every single bottle makes an impact. Every time I make a sale, it makes an impact. And it is either on a global, national, or a local level, or sometimes all three together. And that is really cool. Be proud of what you do, because it's really amazing. And now those people that used to say, how's your pyramid scheme? You know what they say to me now? How's your wine business? I'm like, oh, look at that. All right, so it's all depending on what you think of yourself. It doesn't matter what other people think of you. It's what you think, because their opinion of you is none of your business. So now what I did with my team leaders is we did a schedule, and we said 30 days, 30 lives, or maybe cut out only one on the weekends just in case, because of the fact that people don't tap in as much as frequently on the weekends. So here's how we scheduled it out. Monday, we did Motivation Monday. So we talked about how the impact of our wines made, either like by team weekly sales, if you have a team, or did you host an event, or did you have someone that hosted a party, and maybe it was a local nonprofit that affects battered women, and how you help them, or did you sell a case of Pinot Grigio or Pinot Noir, and how many pets got adopted because of it. That's the message you want to hone in on. So that's just one video. Tuesday, we did Charity Spotlight. And we would literally pick up either, pick up the red blend, again, talk about the bottle, say, why this has an American flag on it. Let me tell you about Team Rubicon. Here's a couple of talking points, but you can go onto their website, and we partnered up with them. And how amazing is that? How amazing is this organization? And, when you purchase this red wine, you're now helping that organization. Wednesday, just wine day. Do your favorite wine. Right now I'm in love with the peach demi-sec. And I talk about it as it's like my jam. So I sit there and I talk to people out in public, and they're like, do you have a summer wine? I'm like, oh, you need the peach demi-sec. And that's it. You know why? Because you can make all these different drinks with it, and you can have fun with it. And, and then I talk about how much I love it, because I truly do. And I talk about how when I pick it up, it smells like a peach tree. And people love that. They want to hear about your favorite wines, or, you could talk about someone else's favorite wines. I'm not a big red wine drinker, but you know what? I love our Cab Sav, and I will tell people why I love it, and, who I think would be perfect for this Cab Sav, which I think is everyone. And then Thursday, talk about the opportunity. Talk about the opportunity you have available. The growth of the company, how we're growing. If you don't have a team, it's okay. You don't have to talk about you in particular. You can talk about your why. I think if you have a strong enough why, and it's an emotional why, I would put that out there, and how this business is helping you with your why. When I talk about opportunity, I will sit there and say, of all the things, like how I'm watching teammates grow and blossom into these amazing people, and they're really coming out of their shells, or they're really making an impact, and they really there's people that hone in on like specific just charities because it hits home to the because one of their family members were affected by it. So when you talk about that stuff, it brings the opportunity to life, and it makes people understand a little bit more of like, okay, maybe I can do this business too. Friday, you know what? It's like a fun party day. So what happens at your tastings? Talk about what you do at your tastings. Talk about an actual tasting. and say, hey, so I was at this tasting, here's how it went down, and it was a lot of fun because blah, blah, blah. Do something, or do a recipe with one of our wines. You can make so many different drinks with our wines. It's awesome. So then on Saturday and Sunday, or, you can do two, but I would just do something lifestyle. I have a dog. If you are friends with me on Facebook, y'all know my dog because he's all over Facebook, and he's my boo. And he's my buddy and my best friend. And, and my lifestyle is making him, he was adopted and he was in a shelter for 2 years. And the year before that, who knows, but he came to the shelter with burn marks on him. So you know what? My job, my role is I want to make him happy and, just as comfortable as possible. So part of my lifestyle, because I don't have kids, is I talk about my dog. And you know what? Whenever I do a dog video, whenever I put my dog in my video, those are the ones that get the most hits. So yeah, maybe I'm pointing out my dog, but who cares, right? So if you stick to a schedule and you constantly do this, because here's the other thing, we're now in summer. And so, people are on vacation, they have kids' graduations, they're, getting kids settled out of school, they have kids around the house, they can't tap into Facebook as frequently. If you're sticking to a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday schedule, maybe Monday through Wednesday they weren't on Facebook, but Thursday they hit your video and they saw it out there and they're like, hey, what's this all about? Because here's the thing that we forget. Just because we post something out there doesn't mean everyone sees it. And the cool thing about a live video is once you hit share after your live, even if nobody was on there, it gets popped up in a little bubble at the top that says your story. And you see those stories up there and people click on those. I clicked on one like by accident one day a few weeks ago and I was like, oh, that's what that is. Your live video gets populated up there too, though. So now you're picking up people that are, insomniacs at 3 o'clock in the morning and they're watching you. People are always watching, and I think it's really important to make sure that you're presenting yourself out there with just different ideas, like just different videos, because you want to make it different. You want to make it exciting every single time. And what happens is the end result is more customers. When I did this with my leaders, they every single one of them had a different schedule and what they could do. And one in particular, and I'm gonna, what I loved about it is that she actually was able to not only get amazing business out of it, just singular sales out of it, which, we don't always have to host a party in order to get sales, but she also got a lot of hosts and people starting to ask about this business. And that's what happens. That will accumulate over time. And since then, every time she does a live, it's getting more and more traction and more people are popping up in her life and asking more about this business. And that's the cool thing about the lives and being vulnerable out there too. Don't be afraid of the lives, seriously. And if you ever, one thing that I would suggest to you is that if you do, maybe this is my 10th tip, is if you're afraid to do a live for the first time, if you've never done one, seriously, be that person to say, I'm afraid to do it. Say, this is my first live. Can you tell me if you can even hear me? I don't even know what I'm doing. That's it. Post that in the live and go live and just talk to them. And then once you realize, oh, okay, people aren't going to yell at me. They're not going to murder me. It's not going to hurt me. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing bad's going to happen by you going live. And people are going to notice. Every time I go out in public now, every time I meet up with like a networking group or anything, I always hear, oh, I caught your live the other day. And, oh, I saw that live. Oh, I love your videos. I watch your videos. And these are people that have never commented or liked or that I've seen watching my videos, okay? So they're out there, and every time you see your live video pop up in your news feed, you're gonna see how many views, and you may have had one person on there, but all of a sudden there's 372 views. That's not one person watching it over and over again. That's 300 and some odd people watching it. So those are my tips today. The other thing that I want to just say too is once you start, just keep going. It's absolutely, there is, again, listen to me. I mean, I am not a professional. None of us should be professionals because we don't want to scare anybody off. And just have fun with it. And trust me, you're going to get the people that are going to, like, say, oh, did you see Louise? Did you see her? Did you, that live? Who cares? Again, just have fun, because you know what's going to happen in the end. One day you're going to do a live and be like, let me tell you how I grew my business to 3,000 people. and then they're going to be like, wow, okay, those things really worked. So if you have any questions, let me know. One other thing too is that if any of you out there, have any, like if you want any information, if you want me to help you along with your lives too, feel free to ask me. If you're not friends with me, feel free to friend request me. If you need any information, I am available for you. We can also do a live remotely, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if it, but if there is a way that I can help you just to kickstart you, I'm more than happy to do it. So that's basically all I have today.
Oh my gosh, Louise, like you touched on everything. I kept thinking of things to try to chime in on, and you were just like, and one more thing. I love it. I think the big point to drive home really is that anyone can go live, and I was trying to think of like a super easy first live to do. And like you said, like call it out. This is my first live ever. Or the next time you get a wine shipment or a gift box, just do a live of you opening it.
Yeah.
And have a conversation about the gift box and the donation it makes. And then you'll see that people aren't, like you said, going to murder you. And then you'll feel more comfortable doing your second one and your third one. And then you'll grow into having a schedule. And you don't have to be like sitting down like at, a table doing a live, or like I've seen you in parks. I've seen you at restaurants doing lives. So it's like, just do it when it fits into your schedule.
Yep.
And then another thing that's super, super important to think about, and you touched on this, is that just because people aren't on your live while you're doing it doesn't mean they're not watching. And I remember a conversation I had with you, Louise, a couple months ago about this. And I was like, keep doing it because you're getting people's attention. Don't stop. And that's when you created that whole challenge with your team.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, step outside of your comfort zone for a little bit and do it for at least a month and see how it helps your business, because it will help your business. Because you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. So you're growing. You're going to feel more comfortable talking about it just every day because you're talking about it on Facebook. And people will start to ask you questions, and some random people that like you probably haven't talked to since high school will message you and be like, hey, what's this wine thing you're doing? Right? Mm-hmm. Have you had people reach out to you from the past?
I had the last person that just signed up on my team messaged me a month and a half ago, and out of nowhere, I didn't even realize she was on Facebook at all. And she said, I've been watching your videos and I really want to know about this wine thing. And we sat down and talked, and that was it. And I was like, you know what? People watch, and you don't realize how many people are out there watching.
Definitely. And as you mentioned in the beginning, fortune is in the follow-up. So if people are reaching out to you or asking you questions, answer them and make sure that you're staying, in contact with them, build a relationship with them. That's the joy of Facebook and all social media, is that you can connect with people from all over. But does anyone have any questions? We can open it up for Q&A for Louise. Feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question, or if you want to enter it in the chat box. And I'm just so excited to get this out to the community, because I think it's such a great avenue to really, jumpstart your business as a new CEO, and then also as a seasoned CEO, to offer it to your team and really challenge them.
I love it. And I'm glad you brought up the gift sets too. I think doing those lives with a gift set is really impressive, because people when they hear gift set, they're like, all right, is it really that good? Or, ours are so impressive. And I think just the presentation of it is just phenomenal. And take advantage of showing it off. and showing people how cool our stuff is.
Yep, definitely. Well, I guess we don't have any questions. You covered it all, Louise, like I said.
No question specifically, but I just wanted to make a comment. I think Louise really needs to build her enthusiasm.
I know, right?
I'm so low energy.
Isn't it contagious though, Rita?
It's very, very much contagious. And yeah, the energy level was like off the charts. But obviously I'm being sarcastic. Even if you have to fake it just for a little bit, like you said, take a cup of coffee, have a glass of wine, whatever it takes. I think that's really, really, really good advice. But yeah, she really needs to build her energy level and enthusiasm.
This is really my first coffee today, I swear.
No, from my first call with Louise, I just fell in love with her and her energy. And so, we're just so excited to share this live training with you guys. And I knew she was going to hit it out of the park. So
thank you.
Of course. And thank you everyone for jumping on today's call. One thing to note is that we have our CEO to CEO call with Jake Kloberdance tomorrow. It is at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We changed the time this week. So be sure to update your calendar. If you want to join us for that call, we'd love for you to join us. We always share some great information. And so it's 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Zoom. And everyone have a great weekend. And hopefully you have some amazing tasting scheduled. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye. Thank you, Louise.
Bye. Thank you.